Azure Front Door is another way that we can help present our applications to our users. Azure Front Door is another tool that we can use to help deliver our application. It offers a variety of features to help give you the ability to host your web-based application, ensure it is secure, has fault tolerance, and be local to your users. It provides a Layer 7 firewall so that you can help protect against SQL injections, scanners, or other attacks that would come across port 80 or 443. We can provide path-based routing, so if you have a subset of servers that handles your search and another set that handles request forms, you can route traffic accordingly between the two. In addition to that, we also load balancing, so if you've got multiple sets of servers, you can load balance between them. Additionally, it offers caching in there to help offload some of the processing of your servers. Along the same line, it does also allow you to offload SSL processing. This is another way where you can take some of the processing off of your web apps or server. If you prefer, you can still have traffic between Azure Front Door and your servers protected by using end-to-end encryption. It is also a global tool, so it is not deployed to one single data center, much in the same way as a CDN. In many ways, Azure Front Door is very similar to Azure Application Gateway if you're familiar with those. The main difference is that Azure Front Door is a global service, whereas Application Gateways are a regional service. Let's talk specifically about some of the other caching features within Azure Front Door. The first is object chunking. Since it's acting like a man in the middle between your users and your web app or server, if we are sending large files, this can cause a delay as the file is sent from the origin to Front Door and then to your user. To get around this, we use object chunking. Essentially, it will break the file into 8 megabit sections. As Front Door receives the first chunk, it will ask the source for the second chunk. While that is happening, it is sending the first chunk to the user, and this will repeat over and over and over until the entire file is sent. By doing this, the user is getting the file much quicker since the Azure Front Door can send and receive chunks at the same time. It also supports file compression. Obviously, as we compress a file, we typically send it faster since there's less data to transmit across the wire. There is a static list of files that are not allowed to be decompressed, and this is managed by Microsoft. This will improve application performance as long as your application isn't using that list of files that aren't supported. We can also look at how files are cached based upon the query string. We can have it to where it ignores the query string and will cache the content regardless of it, or we can have it to where it treats every query string as unique. So if a query string gets changed from one request to the next, it will get its own cache. Whatever option you choose is really up to you based upon how your application works and is structured. And the final thing worth noting is that the request headers, content length, and transfer encoding will not be forwarded to backend service when caching is enabled. As with all good things, they must come to an end. Cache must be purged in order to keep space for newer content. By default, cache has a TTL, or time to live, where once it's reached that, it will be purged from cache. The next time the content is requested, it will be pulled from the origin or the source, and then repopulated in the cache with the new TTL. With that in mind, it is recommended to version your content so there aren't duplicates. So as new content is added, we make sure we put a version number on it, so this way we don't have any overlap with the items that are already in cache. We can also manually purge cache if we need to. Say we pushed out a major change, or we found an issue and we want to clear it up as soon as possible. The first option to purge cache is single path. And this would be for a single item. We are specifying the full path to that item, say if it's an image file that was updated. This way we can remove that from cache if we found that that was an issue. The next is a wildcard purge. And this is for a directory or folder, maybe a pictures folder or forms folder. This will include any subfolder that lives within that directory as well. And the final option is root domain, and this will wipe out the entire cache for a site. We can also specify a cache duration, which is the minimum TTL that Azure Front Door will cache an item. However, it is worth noting that if the origin's cache control header max age is a value that's less than the minimum TTL on the front door, the value in the cache control header will take precedence.